Let's finish up our transformations of trigonometric functions today. And we want to find the exact values of x for which this function attains its maximum value. Okay, so we're going to look at this two ways. We're going to look at it analytically. We're going to use our algebra skills. And then we're also going to look at it graphically so we can see what's happening with this function. We'll first attack this algebraically. Let's consider y equals sine of x. Y equals sine of x looks like that, right? And we can label our axes. This would be 2 pi. This would be pi. This is pi over 2. And look at what's right above it. That's a maximum point. So 1 pi over 2, 2 pi over 2. This is 3 pi over 2. 4 pi over 2 is 2 pi. This would be 5 pi over 2. So y equals sine x has a maximum at pi over 2 and 5 pi over 2. And there's going to be another one 2 pi later, so at 9 pi over 2, and etc., etc. But again, we're not dealing with y equals sine of x, we're dealing with y equals sine 3x plus 1. So this isn't really an x here, this is really a 3x plus 1. So it's not x that equals these things, it's 3 times x plus 1 that equals one of those things. When this thing inside the sine of x is equal to pi over 2, then we have a maximum. So when 3 times x plus 1 equals one of these, we have our maximum. So we just have to solve now. I'm going to divide by 3. X plus 1, I'm going to do it to each one of these values. There's infinitely many, remember. So this is going to be pi over 6, or 5 pi over 6, or 9 pi over 6, or yada, yada, yada. Then we subtract 1, so x is pi over 6 minus 1, or x could be 5 pi over 6 minus 1, or x could be, oh wait, 9 pi over 6, that reduces to 3 pi over 2 minus 1, or infinitely many more solutions. Okay, so that's our algebraic interpretation of this. That's how we can find this algebraically. We can accomplish the same thing using our graphing skills, and that's what we're going to look at now. So let's get rid of this, and let's talk amplitude. Amplitude is 1, period. 2 pi over 3, because we have a b value of 3 here. Vertical shift, there is none. And horizontal shift, we're going left 1. So let's start to build our graph. So I'm going to label my period. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 pi over 3. This would be pi over 3, and here's pi over 6. So 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, that's pi over 2. And I'm going to extend this out a bit further. So 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 8 pi over 6, and 9 pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 3, and here's where I'll stop. I could keep going. I'm going to stop here, though. So amplitude's 1. So I'm going to graph my normal sine cycle. I will do my shift in just a moment. So there's my 1 cycle that I'm going to be shifting 1 unit to the left. I'm going to continue on. So from this graph, we can see that we have maximums occurring at pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 2 pi over 3. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, we need to move them 1 unit to the left. We need to bump them all that way 1 unit. So our maximums will occur at pi over 6 minus 1, or 5 pi over 6 minus 1, or 2 pi over 3 minus 1. Same 3 values we got analytically, algebraically that is, the previous method. So there we have it, 2 different ways of doing the same problem. We've got 1 more to look at, and this is working in reverse. Here we have a graph. I need to find the equation. Alright, so I'm going to take you through the way that I prefer to do this. We have a maximum of 4, a minimum of -2. Let's find the midline first. You know, this thing right here that cuts through the middle? We take the 4 and the -2, and we divide by 2. We're going to add them. So we got 2 over 2, which is 1. So my midline is y equals 1. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is a vertical shift. So D equals 1. Cool. And if we're not sure, we could check. How high does this go? Well, it goes 3. How low does this go? It goes 3. Oh, guess what we just figured out? We just found the amplitude. Therefore, A equals 3. Cool. So the only thing that I have left to find is the period. And to double check, let's make sure that this thing is indeed a sine cycle. So starting out at the midline, going up, down, and back to the midline again, you got it. That's a sine cycle right the way that we're expecting it. So what is the period? Well, I don't know what this is. You know, is that a problem? Not really, because we know these 2 points up here. We could think of that as being 1 cycle. So how long is it from maximum to maximum? That's 4 pi over 4. The period can be found by taking 5 pi over 4 minus the pi over 4, which is pi. Well, how do we find period, ladies and gentlemen? The way we find period is we take 2 pi divided by b. Multiply both sides by b, we get b pi equals 2 pi. B equals 2. And here we go, get ready. Y equals 3 sine 2x plus 1. And if you want to check to see if this is right, we could very easily use our graphing calculator. Alright, so let's open up a graphing page. We're going to type in 3 times sine 2x plus 1. Oh, well, that doesn't look like a sine wave now, does it? Well, one thing that we have to look at is we have to make sure that our settings are right. So what I'm thinking, if I go in, I press menu, go down to settings, see graphing angle, it's in degrees. If we look at that screen, it's only going from 0 to 10 degrees. Well, to see 1 full cycle, I better go much larger than 10 degrees. I'm going to go menu, settings, and I'm going to change this to radians. Let's see what happens if I'm on radians here. I'm going to click OK. There we go. There's a nice sine wave. And what I can actually do with this, I can go Menu, Zoom, and select Zoom Trig. And it will adjust the graphing window to something that's useful for trigonometry. If I go back into Window and go up to Window Settings, look at what it's set to. The x-axis is set to be negative 6.28 as a minimum and a maximum of 6.28. That would be negative 2 pi and pi. So it automatically sets that up for us. I could change my x scale to be, well, I don't know, maybe pi over 4. So each mark on my x-axis will be pi over 4 now. There's 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4. There's 1 pi. Let's change the mode back to degrees. Settings. I'm going to go degree, hit OK, and there's that funny looking graph again. How can I change this so that it looks like what I need to see? I hope you're thinking, go to Zoom and Zoom Trig. Now the axis is set to go from negative 360 to positive 360, and this equation is indeed what I was seeing on the problem that I just got done working with. So there we go, all done. That's what we needed to accomplish. I checked my work, and we're done. Hope this works for you. You got to take it one piece at a time. If you try and do the whole thing, it's not going to go well.